What's up, YouTube? I picked up this 2013 BMW S1000RR recently, and I can't wait to show it to you. So today I wanted to go ahead and do a quick walk around, talk a little bit about the bike. Why did I buy it in the first place, and a little bit of history behind my decision. So to start off, this bike has been my dream bike for a very long time. Before this, I started off riding a Suzuki SV650S as my first bike. Yes, it was a 600, but that bike was ideal for me. I really didn't want to start on a 300, and I felt like I could respect the throttle. Therefore, I didn't mind starting on that 600. And I quickly got bored of the SV650. I got bored since it was very predictable. It was, the throttle was very linear. The bike was light, really easy to ride. It's a great bike. It's a great beginner bike, but it just was not interesting to me. So I quickly got bored of that bike. But as much as I loved it, I knew I did not want another 600 sport bike, but I upgraded and I got the Suzuki GSXR 1000, a 2006, and that's a beautiful bike. And right then and there, I knew I had to ride the bigger bikes. I just knew. I fell in love, and I knew that that's the amount of power that I wanted, and that's the weight and the class that I really, really enjoyed. Now, I'm from Arizona, and our roads are pretty boring. They're long straightaways. Check this out. Not much out here. It's all straight. We don't have a lot of corners or narrow streets. So there's not really a need for a more nimble and smaller bike. Yeah, see, if I lived somewhere in Europe or, let's say the Bay Area, maybe I would reconsider. Maybe I would be better off in a smaller bike. I would hate to try to maneuver these bigger bikes on those narrow streets. So I think those streets are so congested anyways that you wouldn't even want to have a bigger bike. You're not even going to reach its potential or before you hit traffic again or reach another stoplight. But that's not the case here in Arizona. I mean, our roads are wide open. Our speed limits are all, for the most part, 45 miles an hour on surface streets. And so you really can enjoy a bigger bike like a 1000cc GSXR that I had. And that bike was great. And I did not want to get rid of it. I did not want to sell it at all. But due to to keep things short, I did end up selling it, and I was out of riding for a while. I sold my gear with it, and I always said I would get another bike, but it took a while. Because I was waiting for the right one. And here it is, guys. Here it is. This is my dream bike. I can't believe I have it. I'm so grateful. I'm so happy. I can't quite do a review of it yet, but I will definitely do that once I've got a good idea of everything. There's just so much to discover and so much to find out about this bike that it wouldn't be fair to do a review when I've only had it for 2 weeks. I think this is my 3rd week now. So I definitely want to ride it a little bit more. That way I can give a more detailed and in-depth review on it. So a couple of reasons led to my decision on this bike, and a few times I almost gave in and bought, a Ducati, just because these were so hard to find with low miles and in good condition. And so a few times I almost gave in to other leader bikes, but I'm glad I stuck it through, and I'm glad I waited for the right one. I mean, this is exactly how I wanted it. This paint scheme, this color. I was looking at a red and white one for a while, but I ended up waiting, and I was just waiting for this blue and white scheme. And here it is again. I'm so excited. But a couple reasons led to this. So first, I do want a bike that's as fast as possible, and this is crazy fast. I mean, I don't want a bike that's going to bore me or be predictable. I wanted a bike that's always going to be pushing the limits, and it kind of scares you a little bit, and this is it, guys. This bike will do that. This bike is insanely fast. I mean, the first week I got it, it's been in rain mode, and it's been ridiculously fast. Just in rain mode, just imagine that. And so there's 3 other modes, and if you take it up to sport mode, it's a whole nother animal. The way it shifts, the way the RPMs are holding, this bike has so many electronic aids that'll keep you safe, but at the same time it's always begging for more and asking you to go faster, and you really got to be able to respect your limits and know what you're capable of, and obviously not break any laws. You want to ride safe at all times. So this bike, this did it for me. I mean, this is pretty much one of the fastest bikes out there, and the way it delivers the power is just brilliant. The second reason I got it is the styling. So the styling is controversial. You either hate it or you love it. So if you look, we have the headlights that are not, what's the word? They're not symmetrical. So you see one is round and the other is a longer shape. The bike looks different on one side from the other. On this side, you have the shark fins, that little design feature, and on the other side you have a little bit of a more subtle and gentle design feature, but this bike looks mean, and I love the asymmetrical design of it. I feel like from every angle that you look at the bike, it just looks different, and it has like multiple personalities. Look at that. I mean, to me that looks good, and a lot of people hate that design, but to me, I love how this bike just has so many different looks to it. Another reason that factored into my decision was the riding position, and so I like the sport and aggressive riding position, but I did not want a bike that's uncomfortable, that would hurt my wrists or break my back on a long ride. So this bike has a pretty comfortable riding position, but I should say that's subjective. It depends what you're used to riding. But for a liter bike, I mean, it's not as comfortable as a Gixxer, but it is pretty comfortable for what it is, and I'm happy with that. I find that after a long ride, my back feels fine, and I don't have any pain in the wrists. It seems like all of my weight is supported evenly, and my legs are comfortable when placed on the pegs and when I need to put them on the ground. And the last major reason for buying this bike was the fact that it's a BMW, and the engineering and the just all the brilliant things that went behind making such a fine machine. I think this is it's something to appreciate if you really get to experience this bike and see what it's about. It is a fine piece of machine, and the engineering behind it is just brilliant. They definitely did not settle when making this bike, so they didn't take any shortcuts, and they didn't settle, and I like that, because that's how I like to live my life. I don't want to take any shortcuts, and I want the best out there. So yeah, if you are considering a BMW S1000, they're hard to find in the used market. You can get them new, or you got to be patient when you're looking for a used one, because people love these bikes. They're not going to sell them. Either they're going to be trashed and high miles, and then they're up for sale. But if it's clean and nice like this one, people just hold on to these bikes. So you got to take your time if you're looking for one. I spent months looking for this bike before finally finding it in California. I didn't even find it in Arizona, and I went over there and picked it up. It was worth it to me. Every other S1000 I saw for sale in Arizona was over 20,000 miles, and I was able to get this one with only 5,000 miles on it. So what I would say is, if you're looking for S1000 and that's the bike you want, you're not going to be happy with anything else. I'll tell you that right now. If this is the bike you want, you need to be patient till you find the bike you want. Don't settle, don't cave in. I almost did, and there are a lot of other fine options out there, but nothing will put a smile on your face as big as this bike will. All right, good luck to you, and if you have any questions, if you're considering buying one, yeah, leave a comment below and I'll be glad to answer it. Thanks for watching, guys, and please consider subscribing.